Now we're ready to prepare the gel. Today we're using a 4 to 12% precast Bis-Tris gel. These are great to use because they have a really quick runtime, a long shelf life, and they're great for mid-sized proteins. So I'm just going to cut the top of it off and pour the buffer into the sink. Just set that aside, and we're going to take off this bottom strip, and I'm just going to stick that to the bag, and then we're carefully going to remove the comb from the gel. And then I'm going to shake it to get rid of the buffer that's already in the wells. And then I've got a squirt bottle full of water, and I'm just going to clean out the wells gently with the water. And again, I'm going to shake it to get rid of the water that's in the wells. And I'm going to do that 2 times. And I get all the bubbles out as well. And then I'm going to shake it out. And now we're ready to put it in the electrophoresis tank. Before you load your gel, you want to make sure that you have everything together that you're going to need. So you want to make sure you've got your pipetter. We're going to need a syringe to clean out the wells. You're going to need your samples and a tube rack, something to put your pipette tips in, your buffer, the lid to your gel chamber, your SDS tank, your gel, and then I use gel loading tips that are long and they're round. And the reason why I use those is so that you can put your sample right on the bottom of the well and you don't have to worry about it seeping into the next well. Okay, so putting our gel into this particular SDS tank, the inside of this is a little bit lower because of the wells, so that goes to the inside and forms a chamber. So you put it in there and kind of wiggle it, and we have a blank side on this one because we're only running one gel. And you wiggle it to make sure that it's seated properly at the bottom, and then pull this forward to lock it. Now you have an inside chamber and an outside chamber. Now we're going to add the buffer. And I just add the buffer to the inside chamber and then allow it to run over and get rid of the bubbles that are on the inside chamber as well. And the total amount of buffer that's added for this particular apparatus is about 800 mils. Then I'm going to go ahead, so it'll be ready to go. I'm going to plug in the lid to the power supply, and always remember black to black, red to red. And I'm going to turn it on. And these particular Bis-Tris gels run for 35 minutes at 200 volts. And then I'm going to change it back to the time so we know how much time we have. Then, just before I'm ready, I'm going to pull up some of the buffer from the outer chamber. And I'm going to clean out any of the buffer that might have seeped in from the gel itself into the wells. I'm just going to do a quick clean out using the syringe. And then right before I'm ready to load, I'm going to put my samples in order from the ice bucket. And you don't want to take them out of the ice bucket until you're ready to load. There's lots of ways to load a gel, and I can just show you the way I do it. One way to get a really nice gel is to make sure, again, that you load the same volume in each well, and to load all of the wells. Either load them with sample or go ahead and load 1X protein loading dye. And also to make sure that you load the molecular weight marker last, because samples have a way of seeping out of their wells into the next well. And the last thing you want to do is have your molecular weight seeping over into the neighboring well. So when you're ready to load, you need to load it and then make sure you start running it immediately. So I'm going to start loading with my samples first, and I'm going to leave the first well blank for my molecular weight marker, which I'll end up loading last. There's many different ways to load a gel. The easiest way for me is to brace my hand up here, brace my finger on the back of the pipetter, and then slide the tip down the back side of the gel and into the well, and I can see it on there, and then just gently let the sample drop into the bottom of the well. And because of these long tips, I can just let it drop right into the bottom of the well without it coming out and going into the neighboring wells. And then I can continue loading the next sample the same way, bracing my hand and then letting it sit right on the bottom of the next well. As soon as we're finished loading, you want to put the lid on and start the run. You don't want to have any excess time between loading and starting the run to let your samples start diffusing. So the lid's on and we press run. Make sure you check your gel pretty quickly after it starts running, just to make sure that it's moving in the correct direction.